welcome in to the studio. We are starting it off here in the studio today because what we've done is put together a year-end wrap-up of this past year's videos. In those, you will see Paul in a couple of them. You will see me, you'll see some of the crew, and hopefully you're going to see some behind-the-scenes outtakes that aren't too embarrassing for us. We'd like to share this with you just so you have in one place some of the highlights, at least what we think are the highlights, of this past year. And it has been a long and fun past year that we could only do with you folks. So, with that, hope you enjoy what you see today, and let's get to it.
There you go. 5 shots, 5 hits.
So there's what the drill looks like. Now, in practicing this drill, you have to start with one very important thing, and that's asking yourself a question. With the pistol you carry, under conditions you expect to shoot, can you hit the head of this target at the distance you expect to shoot? Now, what distance would that be? Many people have different opinions. I know that the FBI spent decades telling us that 7 yards was the mean distance for a lethal confrontation, so that's the distance we're going to use today. And we're going to start not by doing the drill, but just by doing some slow fire and making sure that we can hit the target at that distance. Also, because I've now reached the limit of how much I can stand up in one day, Roy and John are going to do the demonstration from here on out.
We've moved back to the 7-yard line. We're going to have John shoot the target, make sure he can hit the target, and he's going to concentrate on shooting the head. So here's his hits, and this one over here is just him. There's in no particular order, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And if you train on this technique, you may very well be able to put it to use. It's seldom that criminals are wearing body armor when they're dealing with citizens. As a citizen in a self-defense shooting, you probably won't run into anybody who's wearing body armor, but you might. Now, there's a police shooting video, and I looked for it and I couldn't find it, but I'll keep looking, and if I can find it, we'll include it, and if somebody finds a link to it, please post it, where police vehicle pulls over a suspect vehicle, 2 suspects get out and exchange fire with the police officer. At one point, this police officer's in that athletic stance with his butt sticking way out doing this, and he's just winging shots, bang, 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 at the suspect, who's doing the same thing back at the cop, and they somehow manage to not hit each other, and then the suspect runs away. And according to what I've heard, that suspect was later captured. Now, a lot of people have watched this video, and they kind of wondered, how is it that the cop didn't hit the guy? They weren't very far apart. But if you look really close at this video, you can see the suspect's clothing kind of moving, and there are people who are speculating the cop did hit him. He was just wearing body armor. And this whole shooting takes just a few seconds. And what I'm saying is, if the cop had been properly trained on this technique and had taken that extra half second, he could have fired a few, made an assessment, made the headshot, instead of winging shots like crazy into the neighborhood. So situations like this do occur, and I'm of the opinion that if you are trained, you can do this and be successful. Anybody remember that North Hollywood shootout where the bank robbers were neck to foot dressed in some kind of body armor, and the police fired a lot of rounds at them before someone finally had the presence of mind to shoot at their mind? If someone had trained on this technique, as opposed to taking that attitude of, you would never do that, maybe when they got into the situation where they needed to, they would have done that. So I'm of the opinion that this technique is relevant and can be very useful. And it depends on diligent practice, real training, and making that headshot.
As a 2A community, we must stand together. We must support each other. And even if somebody is shooting a firearm that is different from yours, that's okay. We all have the rights to choose which ones we want to shoot, which hobbies we want to do, whether we want to do hunting or sports or other things. And we need to support each other in that. Even if you think that as you read this ban that it's reasonable to, oh, that sounds okay, or I don't know why we would need that, or whatever, remember, you must ask yourself, do you want firearms to go the way of the cigarette? And if you don't know what I mean, look up the history of advertising for tobacco products.
What came out of it? Give me a minute, I'll go put some clays up for you.
Hi everyone, let me get right to the point. As I'm recording this today, it is 20 December 2023. And I'm recording this and giving Brad instructions to publish it upon my death. So if you're watching me, I'm dead. When you're shooting targets like this with different calibers, there's several factors that go into it. Not just what caliber it is, but also which manufacturer, barrel length, the design of the rifle. So there's things that go into it other than just the specifics of caliber. But the one observation I have is that in this particular case, this is one time where you cannot say that a .308 is just as powerful as a .30-06.
There will be a picture of Paul, my dad, and I with his bison. Now, he went on a couple other bison hunts, took people. So that's where we are. Now, Paul liked Old Westy stuff. And at the point of the bison story, he was more into rendezvous stuff than Old Westy. And the difference being that Old West was based on mountain man fur trapper era, or time frame. And it was more single shot black powder rifles and, you know, tomahawks, and all the things that he's done. Which is why he was really good in one of the videos at throwing tomahawks and knives. Now, he used to take his friends, his two grown-up best friends as he grew up, and I'll name drop them here, Chuck and Greg, and they would go on Old West trips and with Ruger 6 guns, usually 44 mag. And so again, this one's a Colt. I'm proud of that. Anyway, they would go on their trips. They would Dutch oven cook. They would use kerosene lanterns. Yes, at times, kind of a miserable trip, but fun and challenging. Okay. Take that fancy new pistol of yours and knock him down. That is a fancy pistol. Damn, that 380 is awesome.
Yeah, and I thought the 32 is what was like a brick through a plate glass window. All right, solid choice.
Oh, there's a nice close one. See if we can hit it with a 44 Magnum. Yeah.
So now we have two targets set up at about 5 yards. And if I was facing an adversary and I'm armed with my .45, you'd want to aim center mass. And although you might resort to a Mozambique drill, if you think the situation warrants it, for the most part you'd want to stick with shooting center mass. However, if Roy's armed with a .22 and he's faced with a similar adversary, let's look at the way he's going to do it. Now let's take a close-up look at these targets. So what we see is that I have a shot in the head when I'm doing the Mozambique drill, but for the most part we want shots to be center mass. Although when Roy's using the 22, we see a difference in his point of aim. And with calibers like 22 long rifle, you have to shoot for the right part of the target. And it also has the same stuff as everybody else's, so I'm not going to take it apart and show it to you. But there are a few things I do want to show you, and I do want to cover. Now, first of all, I'm sure some of you have noticed that I'm carrying my gun on the wrong side. I am right-handed. Well, with my crutch in my left armpit, I need my holster on the right. But something I want to show you in the pack. Roy had some insect repellent. It looked like nobody else did, and I got to tell you, insect repellent is an extremely important thing to have. Another thing, as I stressed before, you've got to have program compliance, so you've got to have a pack that is as small and light as you can make it. Now, there's a rule of thumb that if you try to make one tool to do multiple jobs, it's not really good at any of those jobs. However, in your pack, you do have to have multitasking tools if you can. Thus, I have this Gerber multi-tool. And it can do a lot of things, and you've got to have stuff like that in your pack.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah,
Can I shoot one more?
Yeah, I don't give a shit. That'll put a bear on its ass. A big bear. It does not like to cycle this ammo today. I'm not sure why, but if you jiggle it, it goes.
It's
That, and I just, I don't know what it
Oh,
is with
did
me
you
shooting your
still?
guns that it just, oh, I have to be absolutely catastrophic with
All right,
it.
fine, forget it. I might have to send it back in.
I like to celebrate on the range with our favorite target soda jugs, which happen to be red, white, and blue. Not only that, being here in America means you get a lot of freedoms of doing what you want, when you want, even if some of those things are self-destructive. We pass a lot of laws, but people are still allowed to smoke, even though it's terrible for you and you shouldn't. And of course I don't smoke these things, but they do look kind of theatric. You're allowed to work where you want, live where you want, and go to the church that you want. And while we're on that subject, I want to take a moment to say that words could never convey my gratitude to the literally hundreds of thousands of you that have told me that you've included me in your prayers. Thank you. And again, happy birthday, America.
Welcome back into the studio. We really hope you enjoyed that little trip down memory lane over our past year. Hopefully there were some funny things in there and a couple little points about what we talked about and taught. So with that, we do look at all the comments and we read them and we try to accommodate those that are within our budget, our means, and our expertise and resources. We will continue to make videos that you folks want to watch and cover topics you want to have covered. We can't do this without you, without your input, without your support. Just viewing it and hitting that thumbs up is a great support for all of us. I want to say thank you. I want to remind you to go out, train, practice, learn how to use, hopefully, those guns you got for Christmas this year, and always be the best prepared for the worst case situations.